Country artist Davis Nail is getting you in the holiday spirit with his brand new EP, A Campfire Christmas. The artist joins me now via Zoom. David, pumped to be speaking with you. How are things?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, A Campfire Christmas. This is your first ever kind of holiday EP, if you will. Just start by telling me kind of how this came together.
Well, my wife's been bugging me for years about doing it, and I sort of was very not necessarily against it completely, but I just felt like there were so many wonderful country artists who are doing it that I just felt like that it was if I did it, it was sort of I was just sort of I don't know, just kind of tagging along for the ride, and my wife planned a party the Christmas this past Christmas, and I was fortunate enough to do a couple of songs on it, and they were Christmas tunes. And I looked at my guitar player about midway through the set, and I just said, "Hey, if I could do something like this, a very laid back, very acoustic driven, um, very organic type of EP, very simple. I would entertain doing it." So some people caught wind of it, were interested in being a part of it, and a lot of times when you do things like that, they can sort of run away from the original idea. So I was a little nervous about that, but for the most part, we kind of kept it how it originated as those very acoustic, a couple of guitars type songs, and here it is.
Yeah, well, I love that too because I like that it's called Campfire Christmas. I feel like that's very fitting because in our household, my wife and I, we prefer like that acoustic Christmas, especially if we're putting up the tree or just hanging out around the house. You don't always want the super over the top Christmas songs, and those are great, but kind of slower down versions, if you will, are nice too. And speaking of, if I understand this right, you picked kind of 5 tracks to be on this, which are all kind of Christmas classics, if you will. So, what was the kind of decision process, if you will, of picking the ones that you ended up recording?
I would love to say that there was some elaborate planning committee that was a part of it, but it was literally like, what are the ones that I'm most comfortable with? What are the ones that I feel like that I can sing the best, the most natural? And again, the Campfire Christmas thing came very organically. It was I was just describing how someone could, expect it to sound, and I just said, "Oh, it'll sound like a couple of guitars and a guy sitting around saying Christmas songs around a campfire," and everyone's head sort of exploded, and we're like, "Oh my God, that's a wonderful idea!" So, um, it's just it was like I said, I keep saying organic, but everything just happened so naturally. There wasn't a whole lot of thought. I feel like sometimes when you overthink things, you can kind of get away from the original sort of idea and what sort of inspired the original thought. And so I was very adamant, if I was going to do this, I wanted to sort of do it my way and do it that I would do songs that I was the most comfortable with, and thus the 5 that we chose.
Yeah, and you keep saying organic and that it's kind of very like comforting and homey, if you will, which I love. But you also said that you ran away from this idea for a long time. So now that it's here, now that it's out, now that you have it, what do you kind of hope maybe this album does for people this holiday season?
I think more than anything is, my wife is literally like after Thanksgiving, lunch or dinner or whatever, it's like Alexa's playing the Christmas tunes. From then, I no longer have control over the Bluetooth speaker, so to speak. And so and especially, closer to Christmas, there's more and more of it, the movies and stuff. And hopefully people can just put it on a playlist, and maybe it pops up, and you sort of perk up because it's maybe a little unfamiliar, and we just want to introduce people to a new take on some of the classics. And it's sort of lit a little bit of a fire in me. Like I said, we did this in July, so it was very odd to be singing these Christmas songs while it was 100 degrees outside. But my wife says every year I get a little bit more in the spirit than I was a little, like, I guess, further from Christmas than I did the year before. And I think a lot of that has to do with having kids. But um, hopefully people just, enjoy our version. We're not trying to, you know, uh, take any classics away from, it's funny. When had to Google these songs and Google the lyrics and all that stuff, it seems to me there's only one, according to Google, Frank Sinatra is the only one that's ever done a Christmas record. So I'm not trying to be Frank Sinatra. I'm not trying to replace any of the classic songs, but hopefully people will just enjoy our little simple take on it.
Yeah, I mean, two things there. One, Christmas in July is a very common thing, so while it would be weird to record it, I think maybe you were on the same, playing field as some other people. And the other thing I love is how you said, you're not necessarily trying to make it this big thing, but instead just be a part of someone's playlist, right? Because I think about like in our household, we already have our tree up, and my wife and I just put on the Christmas mix, and so hopefully David Nail's Christmas album is going to come and be a part of that. Now, speaking of being a part of it, I understand you're kind of taking this on the road too, right? You're doing a brief little tour this winter.
Yeah, we're sort of ending the year with our regular show with the addition of obviously these five tunes and probably one or two others. I've never done the Christmas EP, so I've obviously never done a tour with Christmas songs before. So it's going to be very different than our normal show. So we're sort of going to learn as we go, so to speak. But yeah, we haven't worked this far in December, this close up to Christmas, probably since my twins were born, and they're almost 9 years old. So it's been a while since we've been on the road this late in the year. And it's funny, back in the day when we were playing, that close to Christmas, people would always want Christmas songs. They would always want you to play at least one Christmas song, whether it was just Silent Night at the end of the show. And again, I dug my feet in the sand and said, no, absolutely not. No Christmas songs. This year obviously is very different. We're gonna, we may even have some Christmas lights on stage. You never know. We may have a Christmas tree. I don't know. We're sort of just now getting our feet wet talking about what all we can feasibly do. But it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be serious, but it's obviously gonna be lighthearted. I'm not going to go up there like I mentioned earlier and try to be Frank Sinatra and croon everybody to death. I'm just going to do our own little versions and hopefully people will come out. Whether it's after a Christmas party or they're going to have a Christmas date dinner or going to see a play or whatever. Maybe they'll factor us into their Christmas plans.
Yeah, I love it. All right, David. Well, we are excited for this to be out. We're excited for people to come and see you on tour. A Campfire Christmas out now, available on all music streaming platforms. David, thank you so much and happy holidays to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking time.